Welcome to Movie Rehash. Today, I'm going to explain an action, thriller movie released in 2018, titled, The Equalizer 2. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie starts on a train in Turkey, far from Istanbul. Robert McCall goes into the train's bar and talks with his target, a Turkish man, a father who took his daughter away from her American mother just to spite his ex-wife and hurt her. When the man realizes McCall is after him, he tells his men to deal with McCall. McCall looks around the room, starts a timer, and then fights and defeats all the men with punches, breaking things, using a knife, and snapping necks. He then talks to the father and offers him an easy way out. In Boston, Mother Grace visits her lawyer's office, where her daughter is waiting for her. She hugs her daughter with tears in her eyes. McCall works as a Lyft driver, often giving rides to an elderly man named Sam Rubenstein, who's trying to find his long-lost sister. While driving, McCall interacts with passengers and observes them. One night, he picks up a young woman named Amy, who appears to be in trouble, possibly drugged or assaulted. McCall takes her to the hospital and then returns to confront the men who harmed her. He asks them to do the right thing, but when the leader of the group tries to attack McCall, he uses the man's car to defend himself and leaves after ensuring justice is served. In Belgium, a man named Mr. Calvert returns home and discovers his wife has been hurt and is upset. Three men, Resnick, Ari, and Kovac, appear, and tragically, they harm the wife further. They then make Mr. Calvert sit down, and Resnick puts a gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger. McCall discovers that his neighbor, Fatima, had her garden damaged, and graffiti has been sprayed on the walls. McCall begins cleaning it up when Miles Whitaker, a young man who often talks to McCall and aspires to be an artist, approaches him. Miles offers to assist McCall in removing the graffiti for a fee. McCall visits a bookstore to pick up a book he ordered and is surprised to see Grace working as the clerk. Her daughter recognizes McCall, but Grace doesn't realize that he once saved them. When McCall returns home, he finds Susan Plummer waiting for him, and they have a pleasant dinner together. Susan reminds McCall that it's the birthday of his late wife, Vivian, and suggests that he should socialize more. Susan later discusses the investigation into the Calvert's murder with her colleague, Dave York. They travel to Belgium to examine the crime scene. After returning to her hotel room, Susan is followed by two attackers who demand money. She bravely fights them off, and although they try to corner her in the bedroom, she manages to hold her ground. McCall is observing Miles as he paints a wall when he receives a call from Brian, Susan's husband. Brian sadly informs McCall that Susan has been killed. McCall travels to Washington, D.C., for Susan's funeral and decides to investigate her death. He begins by examining hotel surveillance footage and crime scene photos. The two thugs are in their apartment, playing loud music when they suddenly hear a ringing phone. Surprisingly, it's not coming from either of their phones, but they discover another phone on the floor. As they pick it up and answer, an unexpected explosion occurs, tragically ending their lives. Outside, Resnick and his friends watch this unfold, as they were the ones who dealt with the situation. McCall locates Dave, who had thought McCall was no longer alive. Together, they discover the news of the thugs' killing and conclude that they were eliminated as loose ends. McCall suspects that Susan's death might be linked to the Calvert murders, raising questions and concerns about the situation. McCall watches as Miles goes out with two local gang members. He tails them to their apartment, incapacitates their security, and confiscates their guns. McCall then persuades Miles to return with him. Miles had joined them to seek revenge on the thugs who killed his brother, but McCall emphasizes that it's not a safe path for him and he should steer clear of such dangerous individuals. While McCall is driving a passenger who claims to be heading to the airport, he becomes suspicious. Deliberately, he takes an incorrect route, and when he reveals this, the passenger attempts to stab him. McCall responds by driving erratically to disorient the attacker, elbowing him in the face repeatedly. In a desperate move, the assailant tries to shoot McCall, but McCall seizes the gun and fires first, neutralizing the threat. He then retrieves the assassin's phone, discovering coded information on it. Finally, he sets fire to the car with the man's body inside. McCall takes the phone to Dave's house, where he meets Dave's wife and two daughters. As they leave the room, McCall shares the information on the phone with Dave and traces it back to another phone, surprisingly discovering that it belongs to Dave himself. McCall reveals the unsettling truth that, after they all believed McCall was dead, Dave and the others, who were once trained by McCall in the CIA, got involved in dangerous activities. When Susan came close to uncovering their secrets, Dave took her life himself. Dave then escorts McCall outside, expressing his determination to seek revenge on Resnick, Ari, and Kovac for their role in Susan's death. To add to the tension, McCall is given a ride by Dave's wife, seemingly implying their connection to the grim events. Miles is at McCall's apartment, helping him with painting the wall. Meanwhile, Dave and Kovac make an attempt to break into the apartment. At that moment, Miles is on the phone with McCall, who instructs him to locate a hidden spot behind the bookshelf for safety. Miles follows the instructions but begins to feel claustrophobic. McCall calls Dave before he can find Miles and discloses Miles' hiding place to prevent any harm. Just when Miles believes he's safe to leave, Dave seizes him at gunpoint, kidnapping him. McCall heads back to his old hometown, which is being evacuated due to a hurricane. The four villains search the town to find him. Kovac enters a shop, thinking he's spotted McCall, but McCall swiftly takes him down with a harpoon. Ari tries to confront McCall but ends up getting seriously injured and killed as McCall defends himself. Resnick pursues McCall into another shop, where an explosion caused by a grenade leaves him with severe injuries to his stomach and dies. Dave, perched atop a tower, aims to snipe McCall. He establishes contact, disclosing Miles' concealed presence in a trunk, and threatens to harm him unless McCall surrenders. Haunting shots ensue, and as Dave reaches his final round, McCall targets the car's tire, carrying Miles, causing Dave to miss. McCall ascends the tower, leading to a confrontation with Dave. Despite Dave's attempt to stab McCall, McCall's speed prevails. McCall seizes his knife, stabs him. Subsequently, Dave is thrown off the tower, colliding with the rocks below, and his body is carried away by the ocean. McCall goes to rescue Miles and discovers that he's been shot in the leg. He takes the young man to his former home, where he tends to the wound and stops the bleeding. While there, Miles notices pictures of McCall during his time as a soldier, along with photos of McCall with Vivian. Back at home, Fatima is pleasantly surprised to find her garden restored and a beautiful mural painted on the wall by Miles. The mural seems to depict life in her homeland. On the opposite wall, a touching message reads, "I leave you with the best of myself." Meanwhile, we see Miles on a bus, engaged in conversation with a girl from his school, who admires a drawing he's working on, inspired by McCall. In another heartwarming moment, Sam is joyfully reunited with his sister, Magda, thanks to McCall's efforts. The final scene shows McCall standing outside his old house, gazing out at the ocean, reflecting on the events that have unfolded. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more interesting movie recaps.